Hi there, welcome to Primetime. I'm Paul Orford, and today I'm here with Maria Meramveliotaki. I apologise for getting that wrong, but I'm very close.
It's okay.
Okay. Yeah, so Maria, in case you're not aware, she's the marketing manager at Top FX, which is just across the road. What really piqued my interest with Maria is she's got a really fascinating educational background and a previous employment history based within, would you say mental health services? Would that be fair? Or?
Yes, mental health services, yes.
Okay, great. Well, the best place for us to start then is really find out about yourself. How did you start, or what was your education in this?
I studied psychology and counseling, and after I finished my studies, I started working in the mental health sector in Scotland. Specifically, it was for non-profit organizations, for children with behavioral difficulties, for substance misusers, for people basically with drug and alcohol problems. After that, I moved to my home country, Greece, and I did the private practice, which is a little bit quieter than the, substance misuse service. Working experience-wise, I think this sums it up. And then after Athens, I moved to Cyprus. So it's been a lot of moving for me. And here also I practice as a freelancer, as a psychotherapist.
Okay, awesome. So what was your drive or your motivation at the very beginning of all this to take this as something to study?
Well, even before I studied psychology, I was kind of the person who other people would come to talk, about what's in their mind. Yeah. And I like analyzing things. I like discovering the meaning behind things and behind, human behavior without just being, superficial. I like to find what's beneath, let's say. So this was what motivated me to study this.
Okay, awesome. So do you feel like you've taken any skills from that environment of like the kids who had challenges or the drug addicts into the workplace that we have now, like the FX industry, for example, with regards to like working with your colleagues and their relationships with you?
Yes, well, it's always about people, isn't it? I mean, working with, it's a very different setting, obviously, because there I am the counselor and they are my clients. And here at Top FX, we are a team, but still you have to know that you're dealing with different people. They have different communication styles, different, needs, let's say. So it's always about trying to understand people and, be in sync, let's say, with them. Yeah.
Okay, based upon your past employment history and your education, it's so radically different from FX. Yeah. Why did you get into this industry?
It was by accident, actually. I started trading a little bit on my own. So, I learned Forex online mainly from different websites or mentorship programs and things like that. And you know how important psychology is for trading. And me being a psychologist, I thought I could contribute somehow. I started writing about the intersection of trading and psychology on online websites. I blogged about it. And later, I did a marketing degree, a marketing diploma, and I got a job as a content writer initially at Top FX. So this is how I entered the marketing, at the Forex industry, let's say.
So do you now pursue marketing more than your previous education and previous employment?
I enjoy it a lot. It's a great challenge for me. I find it very creative. You have to. I'm using some of my skills actually because you have to understand your target audience. But it's not just that. It was a good change for me. I needed the change. So yeah.
Okay, awesome. So that's the end of part one. We've got a good understanding where Maria's come from, her background. And what we're going to do in part two is Maria is going to help us really develop ourselves into, which is one of the biggest things which stops ourselves from moving on, which is procrastination. See you after the break. Hi there, welcome back to Prime Time. I'm Paul Orford and I'm here with Maria from Top FX, where she's the marketing manager. In part one we described, or she outlined what her previous education and her work experience was, working with people with some serious mental health challenges and drug addictions, etc. But what we're going to do in part two is kind of discuss something called procrastination. So if you're not aware what it is, Maria, could you describe just what procrastination is?
Sure. Well, it's when you postpone doing something, a task that you're supposed to do. There are major misconceptions about procrastination, and I think it's good to clear them up. So the first thing I would like to say is, like, people may think that it is laziness. You don't do that something, you constantly postpone it, so you must be lazy. But it's not true. What happens is that usually we delay doing something that causes us either a certain level of discomfort, or it's not important enough in our value system. So it's either or. And when I say discomfort, I mean maybe it causes us anxiety. It can be low-grade anxiety, so you don't really realize sometimes that you are anxious about it. But what matters there is your mental talk. So we may tell ourselves that, I'm not sure exactly how to do this, or it will take me very long time to do it, or I may mess up, or things like that. So, or you may just say, I will do it later. I will just watch TV now, and I will do it in 1 hour's time. So it's just finding an excuse because you cannot tolerate the discomfort that arises when thinking that you have to do this task.
So is it kind of like a pain-pleasure sort of thing where you're running, you don't want to take it on because you're scared of the pain of doing it and the pleasure of just sitting back and kind of living in your own environment of, like I say, not laziness, it's kind of the fear of taking it on sometimes. Like the way that I kind of work around it is a list. Just kind of do the quick, easy things first, then you kind of got some momentum and stuff like that. So is there a way that you can kind of get around it, or a way to deal with it even?
Sure. First, we have to understand it a little bit better, because sometimes when you fight something, it persists. So we have to understand that we have this tendency to postpone doing things, and be aware of what happens to us when we do that. So what you said about pain and pleasure, it's very, very interesting, because so it's avoidance of discomfort and looking for instant gratification. Yeah, that's it. So you have somehow to tame your mind, okay? I won't say control, because it's not something to control. If you try to control and struggle against it, it hits you back. So first try to dissociate a little bit from your mind. Maybe call it the monkey mind.
Right, I've heard
Okay, yeah, have you heard of this? So so your monkey mind will try to distract you. It will tell you that maybe a bit later, or you cannot do that, come on, just forget about it. What you can do is just be aware of what happens. So your mind distracts you, your mind bullies you, or teases you, but at the same time be aware of your values, what's important to you. So you have to do this task that's important to you because of your values. Focus on that and just let your mind talk without really buying into it. You know what I mean? It's like you have a bully, but you don't really need to believe what they say. You don't really need to live by what they say. You have to do your own thing. I don't know if you want to talk about any specific examples. You have something in mind.
What the viewers probably aren't aware, how me and Maria got onto this subject was we were talking on a chat where I think a lot of organisations, especially a sales organisation, should have someone who could talk to, like Maria, because the biggest killer of any sales room is procrastination. They're putting off calling that person for the fear of rejection, or just actually getting off their backside and calling the 100 people or 10 people or 1,000 people or whatever. But if they have someone like Maria in the room who can give them a pep talk beforehand to say, look, don't listen to the voice in your head. I mean, to paraphrase you, don't listen to the voice in your head. You know, get on with it and do it. So as a secondary question, would you, or do you think that in the modern era where we got telephones, social media and things like this, has this led to more procrastination?
Well, sure it has, because, you know, it's a great way to distract yourself, isn't it? So, you know, it's quite a legit way to do it, because you have to answer maybe some other emails. So you prefer maybe spending time on social media or browsing the internet rather than do what you have to do. And what's true about these electronic devices is they're quite addictive in a way. So because you get pleasure from it. It's about the pleasure and pain again. So yes, they contribute to procrastination, but even if they didn't exist, I'm sure that the human mind would find other ways to distract or avoid doing something that's hard.
Well, when I first started off in sales, I mean, a long time ago, because I'm very old now, there was all we were given was a table, a telephone. The leads were in paper form, and we had a pen and a piece of paper, and that was it, because it's a perfect environment where you can't get distracted. You know, because, I mean, we did have a website back then, but we're dealing with fax machines and stuff like that where people would open an account that way, and it was the most productive I've ever been in my life. I've never, because you're right, even I try not to procrastinate. Everyone does it to some extent, I guess. But social media, especially stuff like LinkedIn, because you can justify it and say, oh, I'm networking. So, but you know, you're just really just on LinkedIn. I mean, it's not really achieving a great deal.
Yes, it's true. I understand what you're saying about the pen and the paper. It's also about all this electronic clutter. Sometimes it confuses you. You know, there's too much information, too many things happening on the internet, so your mind gets a little bit tired. So I guess, yeah, if you have a pen and a paper, you don't have this tiredness that may arise from all these different stimuli that you get from the internet.
So what tips, if there are any, I mean, I guess it's on an individual basis, would you give to be proactive?
Okay. I think the first thing to know is what we want to be proactive about, okay? What's important to you, because, I do not want to be proactive about making a pie, for example. Maybe it's not my interest. Maybe I want to be proactive about, performing at my job or, exercising. So understand what's important to you, what makes you happy, what you want to achieve in life, what are your goals, and then plan them out. What we are saying about SMART goals, have you ever heard of it? SMART being specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. Right. So you specify what you want to achieve, always to be consistent with your values, and then when all this mind talk happens, you acknowledge it and just treat it like, an unwanted neighbor that you have to put up with, because your mind will never stop. This is the truth. If you believe that you can silence it, it won't happen. You just have to learn to maybe ignore it, maybe don't care so much about it, and care about what it's important to you.
All right, well, that's fantastic. Look, we've learned a ton of you today. So we're going to have Maria coming back again, and we'll discuss some more things. I don't know whether it's anxiety or whatever the case may be. Either Maria can suggest it, she's a professional, or you can even suggest it via the email or on YouTube or wherever. But thanks again, Maria. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll have you back on again soon.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was great for me too.
Cheers. Have a good day. See you later. Bye-bye.